Car chases are dangerous and unpredictable. Viewer discretion advised.
And they start driving erratically or speeding up, then the units will do what they call tracking. I'm sure we heard of that before. And hopefully that they'll slow down and start obeying some of the traffic laws and be not such a threat to everybody on the roadway. Because of course the citizens have no idea what's going on. You know, they'll see a car speed by them and they have no idea. But there gets a point though when you just got to just jump right in there and get that siren going and see if you can just get them pulled over. Like some of these moves that he's doing right here, he's staying away from some of the vehicles, but like I say, he's intoxicated or he's high on drugs. We don't know.
Yeah,
and
obviously,
stay right on top of them.
Obviously, judgment impaired if you are under the influence of either drugs or alcohol. Looked like he was going to exit the freeway, but look at this now. Across 3 lanes of traffic, just really weaving in and out. This has got to be a concern for the officers who are tracking.
Exactly. And the problem here, though, is you kind of weigh the differences. If you were to put a black and white right on his tail, he'd probably even get worse. You know, he'd even speed up more. He'd cut between cars. He's been such a danger here. But that's some of the things that you have to judge.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if he knows exactly what he wants to do or he's kind of just making up his mind on whether or not he wants to get off the freeway. But we could see traffic increasing there, and he is sticking with the exit ramp.
Yeah. We'll see if he just gets off the freeway here. You know, who knows? Sometimes if you keep him on, if you stay on the freeway, it's less stop and go traffic, no busting red lights. You know, like right here, he's weaving in between traffic, switching over to the fast lane. The HOV lane.
Oh, it almost looked like he almost lost control there. The back of that vehicle kind of wobbling a little bit.
Right. He's done that a couple of times, actually. I've seen him lose the rear end. But you can see the black and whites. You know, like right now, he can't even see the black and whites, but he's still speeding. But we're going to go ahead and just stay on top of him. And eventually, you know, just hand it off. If the sheriffs have to, you know, they'll hand it off to another police department, or they'll just stay right on top of it.
All right, the suspect in that black vehicle right now on the westbound 105 just past Crenshaw Boulevard. This is a pursuit that started at about 11:25 this morning, still going on more than 30 minutes later. The sheriff's department is in pursuit of that black vehicle. We believe only one person inside, a driver suspected of being under the influence. And we've seen some really erratic driving, weaving in and out of lanes, just really blowing through intersections, coming very close. But we don't believe right now there have been any sort of traffic accidents or collisions. On the westbound 105, he's been leaning toward that off ramp, but then going back and forth. Looks like he is going to exit the freeway right now. This is the Hawthorne area. On the telephone, we have retired LAPD officer Dave Avila. And Dave, you mentioned that this is sort of a tracking mode where they are observing from overhead in the helicopter so as not to make this driver any more nervous or more of a danger to the public, the people who aren't on the roads, who aren't aware of what's going on. So what's going on in that helicopter right now? Exactly what sort of information are they giving out?
They keep updating the units on the ground in their communications division as of the location. And like I had mentioned before, anything that's up ahead, maybe if there's slow traffic, stop traffic.
Pedestrians right there.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I think this is Hawthorne Boulevard. I'm not real sure. It looks like he's turning northbound.
Yeah, on Hawthorne Boulevard in the Hawthorne area right now, just exited the westbound 105. We're getting into an area that might have a little more people on the streets, and we just saw that at that pass intersection. And this guy really doesn't look like he's slowing down as he approaches intersections. Very little concern for the public. Yeah,
this is exactly where their unit is worth his weight in gold, because he'll just start pointing out, oh, looks like... Yeah, at least he slowed down for that there, and then look at this wild turn in the middle of traffic.
Yeah, he went right through a red light there and onto Atlantic in that very erratic turn. Looks like he's really not making up his mind on what he wants to do until the very last moment, and of course that's really dangerous.
Yeah, yeah, he'll just keep driving here. He just running. He had, you can tell. Sometimes you can tell if they stick around a neighborhood, you think, okay, he's going to get ready to bail out of his vehicle, but just driving on the wrong side of the road, he's just driving aimlessly with a total disregard for the public, and that's a bad thing. There, we just can't. It just gets to the point where it's kind of like you just either track him and just hopefully, like right now, he's kind of avoiding vehicles. He actually slowed down on that last U-turn he did, or that 90-degree turn. We got a black and whites on him now. So, I mean, that's also, I like that because that horn blaring, that siren, just first thing people do when they hear a siren is they just start looking in their mirror ahead, and sometimes they'll just immediately pull to the right.
Yeah, so they might be moving back closer to this vehicle because of concern for the public. Other people don't know that he's coming.
Yeah, that's one thing that we used to do. We would track. Now the area unit
Wrong side of the road right now. Wrong side of the road into oncoming traffic.
Yeah. And that's the one thing though. The air unit cannot request tracking or disengage tracking. They can only give advice. The main officer in charge, whether it be an officer or a supervisor, they're the ones that are going to call it. All the air unit could do is just say, okay, hey, just be advised, I got a school that's letting out up ahead, and looks like numerous children or kids coming out, and then the initiating unit will go ahead and say, hey, we'll go ahead and continue the pursuit. But it's things like that. There, we're back on again. But like right now, I don't see that much pet activity out there. It's the middle of the day, people at work, the schools are in. And we're still got, but he's still weaving in and out of traffic. That's what worries me.
Yeah, moving into the Lenox area right now. Dave, stay with us. Again, if you're just joining us, this is KCAL 9 News at noon. We went on a little early with this live police pursuit happening right now. The driver has been weaving in and out of traffic, some really close calls. Driving on the wrong side of the road, has been on the 710 freeway, the 105 freeway, exited after Crenshaw Boulevard, now in the Lenox area, going very fast through surface streets. We've seen at least one close call with pedestrians. LA County Sheriff's deputies in pursuit on surface streets right now of this driver who is wanted for reckless driving and driving under the influence. We don't have a lot of information. We don't know how many people are in the vehicle, whether it's a man or a woman behind the wheel, and we don't know what they are suspected of being under the influence, drugs or alcohol. But we do know that it is causing them to make some very bad decisions right now. Retired LAPD officer Dave Avila on the telephone with us. And Dave, as we look at this, I think the pursuit moving into Inglewood right now, and as it goes on, the driver just becomes more desperate to get away.
Yeah, and I think that's why the units have re-engaged in the pursuits, at least from the last shot that we had seen. I think we had lost him there for a bit. He might have gone southbound, but I'm not sure. I think from this angle here, this angle, we can't really see where he went.
Yeah, and Dave, the reason we have pulled our helicopter shot out is because we are in the protected airspace of the LAX right now, the airport. So we have restrictions on exactly how close we can come because of incoming and departing flights. The LAPD, what are the restrictions on them as they track this suspect?
Yeah, and that's one thing that I completely forgot about. Yeah, just because we're a police helicopter doesn't mean that we can just go in and out of LAX airspace, Hawthorne airspace, or anybody else's airspace. We do have to request permission just like everybody else. And they'll work with it. Air traffic controllers, in fact, sometimes they'll come on and they'll say, hey, air unit, did you get them yet? And we'll say, no, we're still on them. But they're real good with working with police helicopter units.
All right.
Yeah,
a little bit better shot right now, and we could see LAPD on the ground following very closely behind this vehicle. We just saw him do another one of those crazy maneuvers at an intersection. Looks like he's going to turn right, looks like he might go straight, and then at the last moment turns left. Again, this is the Lenox area, and you could see, boy, even more LAPD officers behind, or sheriff's deputies behind him right now.
Yeah, and you can see that these units are right on top of them now. I think they're going to be looking forward to ending this thing. It's just before it gets any worse.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We haven't seen any accidents or collisions from this suspect because of the way he is driving. When you say they're getting ready to end it, there are a number of things that they can do to bring this pursuit to a conclusion, because it doesn't look like this guy's going to give up. What are the options here?
They always have, well, in this case, you're looking for an optimum speed of 35 miles per hour to pit him. That would be the optimum, but I've seen it done at faster speeds. And of course, there's always the spike strip, but that's not going to work here because we have no idea where he's going. He's going real fast. Mutants won't be able to deploy it in time. So I think now they're just staying on him, just to see if they can get him to stop, or if hopefully he'll turn into a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, we're hoping
we could end this thing.
Hoping it doesn't end with the collision of an innocent person. Westbound on Spruce, this is the Inglewood area. Sheriff's Department pursuing a driver wanted for reckless driving under the influence. It started in the Compton area. Atlantis and Agnes went onto the 710 freeway for a while, onto the westbound 105. We saw the driver driving very erratically, driving in the wrong lanes into oncoming traffic, driving very quickly, making these crazy moves at intersections, and coming very close to some pedestrians. You can see the officers are right behind him in those black and whites, and looks like he's got more oncoming traffic here. Dave Avila, retired LAPD officer, on the telephone with us. Dave, can you tell us sort of what's going on in that lead vehicle behind this suspect?
They're going to be calling the pursuit as the vehicles go. Now, if they feel there's one suspect in the vehicle that they can tell, then they'll stay on it. They'll request an additional unit, maybe, and then a third unit, maybe a supervisor, because a supervisor is supposed to, at least with LAPD policy, the supervisors to join any pursuit. So you might have the two-man car up front, supervisor in the rear, and if they feel necessary, they can request additional units.
Boy, more traffic right here, but they are not pulling back. We were talking to Dave Avila from the LAPD Sheriff's Department. We're going to go back to the telephone. We have someone from the LA County Sheriff's Department on the telephone with us. Is it Grubbs?
Benjamin Grubb.
Benjamin Grubbs. And yes. Your title, sir?
Sergeant with the Sheriff's Information Bureau.
All right, bring us up to date on this pursuit, Sergeant.
Sure.
What do you know about the person behind the wheel in this vehicle?
I don't have a whole lot of information on the driver of the vehicle. What I can tell you is at approximately 11:25, a pursuit began in the area of Paramount, which is within the jurisdiction of the Sheriff's Department's Lakewood station. And the deputies observed the suspect driving so flagrantly reckless that it became apparent that they needed to try to make an attempt to stop the vehicle.
And we initially heard that they suspect this person is under the influence. Is that right?
Again, I don't have the information on the motivation for the suspect to run, or if the suspect is intoxicated, but his actions prior to the attempted vehicle stop gave that inference to the deputies that attempted to detain him.
All right, so they tried to pull him over, and he did not comply. We're saying this is a man behind the wheel?
I'm sorry to even infer that. I do not know if it's a man or a male or female behind the wheel of the vehicle. I don't even have that much information, unfortunately.
Okay, but the person did not pull over. Is that correct?
Correct. That was about approximately 11:25 when the pursuit began. And the information I have is that out of an abundance of caution, at approximately 11:35, the Sheriff's Department made the decision, weighing the safety of the public, to go into what's called a surveillance mode, which is where the ground units back off and the Aero Bureau's helicopter follows the suspect.
All right, but it looks like they are back in full pursuit mode right now.
Okay, if I'm looking at the same footage that you guys have on Channel 9, it appears to me that the vehicles directly behind it now apparently appear to be California Highway Patrol officers.
All right, so the pursuit has been handed off to CHP, and what role does the Sheriff's Department play in this right now?
Well, the investigation is ultimately the Sheriff's Department, since this began with our pursuit. However, we rely on all the resources that we have available to us, including the California Highway Patrol, which is a great resource to assist us in trying to stop this suspect.
Sergeant, looking at these live pictures right now from Sky 9, it looks like the CHP officer is getting pretty close. Would this be an area that you think they might attempt to pit maneuver?
You know what? I can't comment on the California Highway Patrol's protocols for pit maneuvers or their pursuit policies because I don't know those. So I can't comment on what may be appropriate and not when it comes to the pit maneuver, since we don't use that and we don't train typically for the pit maneuver.
The patrol car that is moving up behind it looks like it is reinforced, so perhaps we are about to see a pit maneuver. It's in an area that there are a lot of other vehicles on the road, though, so of course that would be a concern to the CHP. Can you tell us anything else that you know about the person inside the vehicle?
Yeah, unfortunately, again, I don't have too much information on who's behind the vehicle, what their motivations are, what their intentions are, or their motivation for fleeing from police.
Real concern, though, when you've got someone who's possibly under the influence is for the public and also the officers involved, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the immediate apprehension of the violators, not more important than the safety of the uninvolved bystanders, other motorists, or the police officers, So, like I said, when it became apparent that the immediacy of the apprehension is outweighed by the deputies, however, the pursuit can be terminated.
All right, we have Sergeant Sheriff Benjamin Grubb from the LA County Sheriff's Department on the telephone with us right now. Sergeant, if you will, stay with us while I bring our viewers up to date with what's going on. This is a live police pursuit right now. CHP is in pursuit of that black vehicle you see right there. The driver at about 11:25 this morning, so coming up on 1 hour, refused to pull over after sheriff's deputies noticed in the driver refused to turn over in the refused to pull over in the Lakewood area. And that's when the pursuit started. Initially, LA County Sheriff's Department was in pursuit. Right now, you can see the CHP right on the tail of this driver who has been driving very erratically, who officers suspect may be under the influence of something. It looks like one of the tires on the vehicle now may be flat, and that might be the reason that we have seen a slowdown, because this person was driving very, very quickly. Through that intersection right there, you could see that some people are beginning to pull over now, slow down as they see this pursuit making its way. This is the Westchester area. CHP was in surveillance mode. LA County Sheriff's Department was in surveillance mode. That means they pull back. They track this vehicle from overhead when they believe that it has become too much of a threat or a danger to the public, to anybody else who's on the road. Looks like he's really hugging that far left lane right now, kind of weaving in and out of traffic. Let's go back to the telephone right now. Sergeant Grubb, when you know that a driver has a flat tire, and we can see it pretty well right there, it looks like the driver's side front tire might be on the rim. As we watch CHP come up there, really close. They were about to attempt a pit maneuver, and it looks like the driver is aware of that, speeding up. So what kind of challenges is that driver facing right now, if he is indeed driving on the rim of that front tire of the vehicle?
Well, I do know based on radio traffic earlier that the sheriff's deputies at the initial stages of this pursuit were attempting to coordinate some spike strip maneuvers. So I don't know if that eventually led to the flat tire we're watching. But I would imagine it's difficult to steer a vehicle of that size missing a tire.
All right, we're watching this live pursuit winding its way through the Westchester area. CHP coming up on the vehicle again. Looked like a second attempt for a pit maneuver, just missed that rear bumper. Sergeant Benjamin Grubb from the LA County Sheriff's Department, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. We're going to let you go, get back to your job this afternoon as we continue to watch this. And this is a police pursuit that started about 11:25 this morning in the Lakewood area. A driver of that black vehicle running a red light right there, really close to oncoming traffic. And we've seen him do this before, where he comes up on an intersection at the last moment, decides to make a left turn. Again, it started in Lakewood. The driver wanted for reckless driving. We've got 2 CHP officers. Looks like we might have another pit maneuver right there. And there it is, a successful pit, spun it around. You've got the backup vehicle right there. And the door's open. The vehicle, though, still moving. So it looks like he left the vehicle in drive, and this pursuit suspect appears ready to give up. He knows the drill here. Face down on the ground. CHP moving in to check that vehicle, make sure there's nobody else inside. They're going to be yelling out commands as they get ready to take this suspect into custody. Let's go back to the telephone. CHP Officer Juan Galvan on the telephone with us. And Officer, it looks like the end of this pursuit, but boy, we saw some really close calls today.
Absolutely. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me, first and foremost. My picture is a little bit delayed, but absolutely, it looks like it was a successful pit maneuver. The suspect is on the ground and being placed into custody by our officers as we speak.
And I assume that you were watching the pursuit this afternoon?
I did see a few minutes prior to the ending of the pursuit. Obviously, pursuits are inherently dangerous in its own, especially the way this person was driving. So it's imperative that we get this person off the road. All
right. They were initially assuming that this driver was under the influence because of the way he was driving. How does that differ now in how they take him into custody if he is believed to be under the influence? Right.
Well, as he is placed into custody, and if he is determined to be driving under the influence, they will do the field sobriety test as any other DUI stop would occur. And if he is determined to be placed under or is under the influence, that will be an additional charge as well as the reckless driving and the evading.
Certainly looks like he's complying, and that's got to be a big relief to all of the officers involved from several agencies this afternoon.
Absolutely. We took this pursuit over from the Sheriff's Department, and it took a little bit to get into position, and we were finally able to take the primary lead and successfully terminate this pursuit.
All right, the end of a pursuit. CHP Officer Juan Galvan, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. A pursuit that went on for just about 1 hour. It is now ended in the Playa del Vista area. The suspect, wanted for reckless driving, possibly driving under the influence, is in custody after a successful pit maneuver by the CHP.